Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to the 2013 NEA ESP of the Year.
Hello, Maryland. Thank you, President Van Rokel, for that kind introduction. Last time we shared a podium, it was March at the ESP conference. He gave me an award, he gave me roses, and he gave me a check and named me ESP of the Year. I have to tell you, it was a magical evening for me. It was just unbelievable. And now, here we are again. You, me, and 10,000 of our closest friends. I have to tell you, it is an honor to be here with you today, President Van Rokel, and the executive committee members, and NEA staff, and fellow delegates. How could it not be? This is the greatest democratic, deliberative body in the world. I would like to take a moment, a personal privilege, to thank a few people. First, I want to thank the man who stood beside me for many years, my husband, Dwight, and my children, Chrissy and Matt, and their families, who always told me, you can do anything you put your mind to, Mom, just go ahead. Another source of inspiration has been my state president, Betty Weller, and former state presidents, Clara Floyd and Pat Forrester. I attribute their encouragement, patience, and guidance to taking me from a shy, committed educator to someone who is crazy enough to walk up on the stage and address 10,000 people. Thank you to the great Maryland State Education Association. And I also want to say a bigger thanks to Howard County Education Association. You all have supported me through everything I've done, crazy and sane. And I cannot forget my president, Paul Lemley. We all need a Paul, a Betty, and a Dennis who believes in us and our leadership potential and our capacity to advocate for great public schools. They gave me opportunities to attend state association trainings, participate in negotiations and bargaining sessions, and encouraged me to raise my hand for ESPs in my state and my county. And that's important, especially to ESPs. I think that's why many ESPs like me, when I started, how we feel out. We're shy, we're timid, modest, not super confident. Many of us do not seek the limelight. We hesitate physically to get out there, front and center, and interacting with parents, media representatives, and business leaders, or speaking at political or union rallies. And until a few years ago, I would have rather bought dinner for Michelle Rhee and Dick Cheney than speak here at an RA meeting. Little did I know that when I started attending NEA conferences and RAs, how much I would love it. ESPs, I thank you. You give me strength. I get my energy from you. You have always been either a phone call or email away. We are family. I have to admit, though, the first time I sat out in that audience, it was awesome. I remember watching then-President Bob Chase speaking from a stage like this and going, how does he do that? Public speaking was not my thing. I had done it once in front of 4-H volunteers and thought to myself, never again. I imagine many of you have experienced the same fear of public speaking. I remember my first real challenge was when I became a member of a committee in my local association. It was called the ESP Organizing Committee. Things were changing in my county at that time for ESPs, and it was not for the better. We had no choice but to stand up and speak out about our working conditions. I raised my hand to serve as a spokesperson at the next school board meeting, and that meant speaking in public. What an ordeal. Before I took the podium, my arms were shaking, my hands were sweaty, and my knees were ready to buckle. But I took a deep breath, just like today, stepped up to that microphone, locked my knees, and spoke out. When I finished speaking, I went back to my seat. I nearly passed out, but I had done it. I had raised my hand and spoke out for students and for ESPs. We as educators have a wonderful natural tendency to do what is best for children, no matter the challenge. We always have their best interests at heart, but there is more to it than that. The learning environment for our students is directly related to the working condition of educators. When we raise our hands and speak up about sick leave, health insurance, crowded classroom conditions, it directly affects the learning of our students. There is a connection between the well-being of our students and the treatment of educators. We know what works. It works in the classroom, teaching, learning, and we definitely know what doesn't. Testing and more testing. And unfortunately, many decisions affecting the students in schools are made by people who seem to love that idea of testing. They have either not been in the classroom for years or have never been in the classroom, and they are calling the shots. This is wrong, and we need to raise our hands to make it right. We need to make sure that we are heard at City Hall, at the state houses, at the Capitol, when we have a presence on local, state, and national committees responsible for setting this nation's education agenda. There is no time to be shy, hesitant, or timid. There is way too much at stake. For example, being active in the public arena is critical to ensuring that parents, board members, and the general public understand our daily work. I think much of the public has a distorted picture of teachers, principals, and support staff. They have seen way too many movies. They are not in touch with day-to-day school operations. From the perspective of too many parents, you and I work 10 months a year. We have a 7-hour workday. We get nice, long, cozy winter breaks. And in springtime, well, you know, we all hop planes and head to Aruba to work on these tans that we get. Don't we wish? While some members of the public may understand continuing education requirements, recertification requirements, curriculum writing, they probably are not aware of how much work you take home every night. They do not know how that work on the weekend and an evening takes away from your family. The public also seems to think that you get paid to attend back-to-school nights, dances, sporting events. And the really strange thing is they're under the grand illusion that all those supplies in your classrooms, the school board gives you. I don't know whether to laugh or cry on that because it's just too bad. This is why we need to raise our hands and our voices and educate them on truth. And for this to succeed, we, ESPs and teachers, need to step up and step out of our comfort zones and get politically active. Now, many of us choose to work behind the scenes, writing letters, making phone calls, and researching the issues. That's great. The important thing to do is to do something, to contribute, to be heard, to get in the game. That's my message today. Be a player and get in the game. I know it is in us because I saw it in Howard County when ESPs joined the teachers and passed fair share legislation for my county. I see it in Washington, D.C. when articulate ESPs and teachers lobby the legislators at Capitol Hill. I see in all of you ESPs out there who are here in Atlanta standing strong with teachers to raise our hands in unity for public education. We are in the game. And we can't stop participating until every student has the opportunity to have a great public education. Friends, this is so important, particularly to ESPs. Why? Because the public does not know who 90% of us are. We're the lunch lady, the recess lady, the bus driver, the secretary, the custodial. To most people outside of our school environments, ESPs are invisible, anonymous, disposable, and of little consequence. Maybe that's why privateers like First Student think they can come in and sweep into there, take our jobs away, and do it for us. Well, not without a fight, they can't. Not if we're politically active, and not if we stand up and say, no, we won't let you. We are so much more than just a custodian, just a food service worker, just a secretary. My fellow ESPs, we need to raise our hands, we need to stand up and get politically active. And we need to shout it from the highest mountain that we are not invisible, we are not disposable, and we are not anonymous. We are the champions of public school. We have a direct impact on students. Tutoring, mentoring, volunteering, counseling. We assure students get to and from school every day safely. We protect students from bullies and unwanted intruders. We serve students healthy breakfast and lunch. We have the honor and privilege to stand beside dedicated teachers and help students learn and prosper. My fellow ESPs, we have so much to be proud of, even though sometimes school board members do not think so. School board members must realize that ESP deserve professional development, that we are entitled to earn a living wage, that we should receive fair health insurance benefits, that we should not have to worry about our jobs being outsourced to strangers who don't live in our district, don't know our school families, and don't care about our students. To them, it is just another job. Clock in, clock out, go home. To ESPs, it is not a job, it is our career. Politicians don't seem to understand this. They don't seem to comprehend that ESPs have invested their lives in education. We want to be a part of the discussion. If the discussion involves vouchers or charter schools or Common Core state standards, we want to be part of that discussion. If the discussion is about reducing ESP work hours under the threshold, which disqualifies us from health benefits, you bet we want to be at that table. Sometimes we also have to communicate to some of our fellow educators how we contribute to student achievement. Not every educator understands how to work with ESPs. In the case of teachers and paraeducators, I see it as an arranged marriage. You are paired together and are expected to work for the good of the students. Yes, sounds like a bad cliche. For it to prosper, like any marriage, it takes time, understanding, patience, and respect from both parties. And you know what? Flowers help, President Van Rokel. I would like to leave you with something that was written many years ago by a well-known German pastor by the name of Martin Niemöller during World War II. A UNICEF friend shared this with me. I think it stood true back then, and it stands true today. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I am not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. In the end, my friends, we are all Team NEA, and politics is a team sport. And if we do not raise our hands, get in the game, and speak out, who will? We cannot sit on the sidelines and hope someone does it for us. So let's get started. Who will stand with me? Raise your hands for student and for education. Thank you.